Are you single, dating, or in a relationship? Welcome back to After Our Happy Hour. We are your chaotic but cathartic co-host. I'm Vicky. I'm Sharon.
I'm Jamila.
We should have done I'm single. I'm in a relationship. I'm dating. I'm single. I'm in a relationship. Sorry. Why did you say it like that? Can we not do that? Nope. I'm in a relationship. I'm in a relationship.
I'm dating. Wait. Even when I'm introducing like you, for example, I was telling someone that, oh yeah, my friend is up here staying with her boyfriend, and I fucking laughed. It's also maybe because we know your boyfriend.
Wow, we're mature here. We're real mature, I swear. I swear it's still because it's like really new and like I'm so used to being single that sometimes I'm like, I have a boyfriend and it just sounds weird. I feel like maybe a year in you'll get used to it. Anyways, as you can tell, this is kind of half update, half talking about our current relationship status. Oh, I think we wanted to film this especially because I don't think we've been in a single dating and in a relationship status of us three. Yeah, no. We're all single or it's just one person dating. Yeah. It's progress, guys! Yeah! We're getting there.
Well, Vicky hasn't made progress.
Okay, but I also was the only one in a long-term relationship, so...
Can't say that you and I were single for so long, bro.
Anyways, we're going to talk about all of this good stuff, but we also asked you guys for some questions that you wanted us to answer, and if you didn't see that, follow us on Instagram, then you'll be able to ask, okay? After Our Happy Hour, hour spelled HR.
The way I introduce Vicky sometimes now is she's 4'11" with a 6'2" attitude.
I like that.
Picasso.
It's true. As you can tell from our introduction, I'm very single. And then we have them too. Okay, but Vicky's like the most single by choice person ever. So I'm like happy. Like, we're happy for her. Update. Jam's dating. Like dating. Okay. For context, we were supposed to film this episode like 2 weeks ago, but that dating story is very different than her today dating story.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all of that. But before we do, Jamila, how's dating?
Great.
Why
This is so weird because I feel like we're so used to talking about us being single, us looking for things in a guy, like all these things. But when it is actually happening, this feels weird.
How'd you start dating?
Okay, well, I moved to LA, and then I think once I got settled down and stuff, I went back on Hinge, and then there was that 1 week where I had the 3 back-to-back dates. Just because I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it and get out the way, I guess, because I was in that mood for it, and then none of them worked out.
You went on 3 back-to-back dates, and then each of them were very different. Like one of them, the guy was more interested in you. The second one, you were like unsure where he stood, but you were definitely interested. And then the last one, you just weren't interested in at all. So that's very good. We're like, you got, pretty much all the options right in that week. Let's talk about the you were interested one, unless you want to talk about all of them.
Which one are we referring to? Oh, okay. So my first one went pretty well, and I was like, okay. And the second one, it was an obvious, like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. And the third one, that was the best one. And then I was like, okay, yeah, like, I want to, like, get to know him more and stuff. But then our texting, it was very, like, only once a day. As the time went on, I had sensed that, I think we're both maybe, like, interested. We want to get to know each other more. But at the same time, we're not so interested that we want to invest, I guess, into it. So we just went with the flow. We were going to meet up for a second time. But then I had another work conflict that night, so I just canceled it because homegirl got a grind, man. So then we canceled it, and then I just kind of left the door open to see if he was down to do something, just because girl has that sixth sense, and I feel like my sixth sense was kind of right.
Mm-hmm.
So then he didn't say anything, and then the conversation just ended, and that was fine. Afterwards, I didn't really like seek out anything as much because I think I got really, really busy, and I guess that segues to my current dating situation, which was very unexpected.
Yeah.
Basically, I came home to SF for Thanksgiving, and then I met up with one of my really close home friends, and then she was basically just telling me about how one of her Friendsgiving went, and then she was talking about this guy, and then I was like, oh, like, who is he? Like, you always mention his name. She showed me his Instagram. I was like, oh, like he's pretty cute, like not bad. And then she was telling me, oh, he's Chinese, he's from Hong Kong, he speaks Canto and Mando, he's like a hustler, he's older than me. I was like, why haven't we met? I told my friend I was interested. She basically told him, and then we just started talking, and then things are going well. Yeah.
Yeah, how was your first date? Are you enjoying dating?
I think when it came to Hinge one, it was just pretty tiring because it was like all the small talk. Maybe just also guys on there or Hinge in general, you know, it's a dating app, so you don't put all your efforts into it at first. And I think I just got kind of bored of that. I just feel like I wasn't really finding anyone, and I was like, whatever. I'll just focus on my career. I don't think I've ever really been set up by a friend before, but then this one's like really exciting because I think we just click pretty well. We have like very similar backgrounds. I hope he doesn't listen to this episode. I hope none of my other Hinge people listen to this episode.
This is like ideal scenario for you, right? Like being introduced by a friend, and then you guys like talked really long, not really long, but like
It's been
had
a week.
good conversation is what I meant. Like not one text a day, and like it was conversation. You got to know each other, and then you met like first date, right? It's literally like you didn't want to date a friend, but you didn't want to date a complete stranger. So now you know you have common ground.
I was thinking the other day, because before we talk about dating best friend versus dating strangers, right? With this current guy, it's also that like thrill of a stranger because we never met before. But then you have a mutual friend who vouch for each other. So you know they're not freaking crazy or psychotic. She set us up for a reason because she think that we would get along. So then I think there's, it's easier.
The lesson here is don't give up on hope. No, like hit up all your friends. You never know who they got behind. Why did this one quote unquote work while your others didn't? Does it have to do with physical chemistry? Does it have to do with just the quality of the conversations? You physically attracted, like all of the above?
My stomach is
Feeling butterflies.
I feel like always
Dang.
Okay, I think when it came to guys in general, I think I know when I like someone. And for the most part, when I don't like them in that way, like it doesn't ever grow. With the Hinge people, like I got along with them, but I just didn't have that feeling. What was the question?
What made him so special?
Oh, and then with this guy, we just clicked really well because we both speak Canto, similar interests, like really similar music taste too. And my non-negotiables, like he checks everything. Like he drinks, he can drive, he can cook, ambitious.
He can cook?
Yeah.
What he be cooking?
I don't know.
So you can cook? Have you tasted it before?
No, I started talking about a week ago. Anyways, all those things I'll look for in a person, like he has it, and then there's also like physical attraction, physical chemistry. There's also, I think, emotional connection. After we went on our first date, or when we're on our first date, we both kind of agreed that it didn't feel like a first date. It felt like it was like fifth. It just doesn't feel like we just met like a few days ago or whatever. So it feels like things are being rushed, but at the same time, both of us feels like it's kind of right.
Oh, that's so head ass. I'm like reading a book, but in Jamila's life.
Okay, remember how when we were gonna film this before, I was like, oh, let's film it later because I don't know like how things will turn out. I mean, I don't know, maybe after this episode, we film it, and then when this episode releases, things are completely different. We'll add a disclaimer in.
Jam got issues. Jam be saying things aren't gonna work out before it even plans out.
I just put a disclaimer in there, you know?
Let's have hope. Oh, but I was gonna say, like, you're good at the dating scene of, for example, with one of your guys, you knew you're interested, but your sixth sense was saying like, maybe you're more invested than him. So you're just straight up with him. You were like, hey, this is where I am at, but I kind of want to know where you're at, kind of thing. And it wasn't like pushy at all. It was genuinely like I don't want you to be too nice to like break things off. So just like that kind of thing. And I think that good communication. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just easier on both parties. What he said was like, oh, I'm really appreciative of this and whatever. I think with a current guy, I've also really liked that it was so easy to communicate where it's not hard for me to just open up or ask questions. So it feels like it's just, I really like the communication.
So you like it?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Progress. We love to see it. Are you less depressed?
What?
Are you less depressed?
Sorry?
Are you less depressed?
Oh, okay. The thing is, I mean, I've been like way less depressed because ever since moving to LA, I feel like I have full control of like every aspect of my life. I have that freedom. But also maybe because with this guy I feel more feelings and stuff, I'm also overthinking more. And I think Sharon mentioned this earlier, is like we're at a stage of our lives where dating right now is very different than dating in college. Those, it's just like, oh yeah, like I'll date, like to try things out. Like you never really go into it thinking or wanting to be serious about it. But then now it's just like if there's a guy that you kind of want to be more serious about or even think about getting serious with them, it's so much easier to overthink every little thing that like you do or you might have said, or you think more about the interactions that you guys have with each other.
I also just want to throw in, we're just so off topic, that we have a friend that like kind of slotted people into different time periods of when they'll get cuffed. And Jam was slotted in for the latter half of 2022. It is December. And like 2 weeks ago, we're like, oh, fuck, Jamila, like your time's running. And she's really racing right now. Like she's about to like achieve that goal.
Let's just not say that because I don't
But like,
want.
if you have good feelings, then that's a good light bulb, you know? Not like, oh, something's, you know, whatever, but good hopes. You could be struggling.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, bro.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like, oh, 2 months passed. It was like a week ago.
And you guys are so comfortable with each other. Relationship gal. You're in the hot seat now. How's it like being in a relationship? Has it been a month?
Since what?
Since officially.
It's been 3
Months?
Yes.
Officially?
Yes.
Wait.
Hello? We got together back when like I came here to visit you guys.
I thought you guys, that was when you guys like first started talking. Like official, like he asked and then you guys.
We only talked for like a month.
Yeah, I know.
And then we got in a relationship. So
that
it's been
was
3 months.
3 months ago?
But we hit our 3 months like on Monday.
Time flies.
I know.
Holy shit. Okay, well, has been 3 months into the relationship. Are you still in your honeymoon phase?
Yes. Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I think long distance makes it hard. It's just unfortunate that so early on into our relationship, we had to go into long distance. I think it's very different when you start off kind of long distance, but because we started not and then we like kind of abruptly had to go into long distance, it's harder. Or not that it like changed the relationship in any way, but it's just especially in the beginning when you need that face-to-face like quality time and we're not getting it as much, it's just like unfortunate. In terms of being in a relationship, like it's good, but I'm so used to being single that like it's still weird that I'm in a relationship.
Does he like feel like you still act too single for him or no?
That's a great question. I've told him before, but like I was like, how were we just ever friends before? Kind of thing. Where it's so comfortable and it feels like we've been together. It literally feels like we're kind of like an old married couple kind of thing. So it's good, but at the same time, I will admit that being in a relationship right now is harder than expected / what I experienced before, because I was explaining to Jen before you got here of like dating right now in your mid-20s is very different than dating in like college, because there are things now in your life that matter that back in college like they didn't. Just for example, like financial stability, where like meeting parents, like stuff like that. It's like you don't think about those aspects as much when you're just dating in like college.
Yeah.
Versus now it's different. And you guys know like I have problems right now. So going through trying to work on me, but also like to a relationship, it's just a little bit challenging, but it's good.
You know how you said you were in like a married couple? Do you kind of wish that like you have kind of what Jam's experiencing, like that uncertainty, but it's like it's nice because there's like a chase to it almost, versus like you guys settled in so quickly and you're so comfortable so quickly? Oh, you don't want that?
I'm in her. Like there is a lot. There. Sorry. That's not what I meant.
I am her.
Sorry. Like there is uncertainty. When we're physically together, it's like we grew together really fast, really well. And like our communication and stuff and just our feelings together, I feel like we were literally on the exact same page of like not doubting anything and whatever. And I feel like nothing has changed, but I just think like through long distance, it's just me overthinking things.
What about distance makes that insecurity form that wasn't there when you guys were like face to face? I'm curious about the like long distance aspect because I wonder what about long distance makes that happen, because I
felt the same way every time. I remember like leading into our long distance when he was like more worried about it. I was like, why are you worried? Like, I don't think long distance is that big of a deal and blah, blah, blah. But then once I've experienced it, I straight up like being in person versus doing things virtually is very different. I think the quality is just different. Like, I don't know, versus like when you're with them, you get like friendly banter or just like doing things together and stuff, versus if we catch up like FaceTime or whatever, my days
as of right now, especially back home, is the same. Like, I'm just looking for a job, and I'm just like, I don't like what, huh? He's like, what did you do? I did nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know, bro. Like, we're good.
I feel I'm on the opposite end in terms of I feel more secure through texting than I do in real life right now. I don't know if it's because we met through texting. I have this stress of what if my texting personality doesn't match up to my in real life personality, even though I feel like my in real life personality is, or what my in real life personality is like too much. You know, I feel like right now I feel way more nervous for when I'm in person.
That's a good sign. Like butterflies? You don't like that?
I'm talking about butterflies. It's like, oh, the tinglingness you feel for a person when you're about to go on a date and stuff. But right now, it's just me being stressed. What if I like him a lot?
Yeah,
And then he actually doesn't return it? Or it seems like he likes me a lot, but what if like in person, actually, the chemistry isn't there?
I understand where Jan was coming from, because when I was dating, like before this relationship, and I was dating somebody, that was me all the time. Because you start off basically as strangers, and like you're getting to know them primarily through messaging and stuff, and that's where you're comfortable and in, because you get to think of what to say. Like, you have the time response to like think about it and blah blah. Versus in person, you kind of start to overthink, like, oh, what if he thinks I'm different, or like, what if he thinks I like him too much, or like kind of whatever. So then you kind of start getting closed off, or just like overthinking a lot. But then I was telling Jam, like, I think men won't say things just to say things. If he's like giving her the reassurance that he like feels the same way and liking her, then I think right now it's just naturally you overthinking it in the beginning. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. That's good advice.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing well. Let's just fucking leave it at that. I'm doing great.
Oh my god, do you want to be in a different stage, Jamila? Like more or less?
Like, do I wish I was?
Yeah. Like if we said sorry. You don't ever listen to this, and like if you were to be honest right now, how would you feel? Like, do you want to be more, or are you happy with like whatever's happening?
I feel like it's so soon to say anything because yeah, like we get along really, really well, but in terms of how much time we spent together, it's really not that much. I feel like there's still so much of that excitement or jitters of finding someone that you think is like really compatible, right? And then that could be overlooked with, or you can overlook other things that might not work out because of all this excitement.
Understandable. I feel like going at a good pace is always good.
Also distance actually, because he's in the Bay and I'm in LA. So I think that's also a factor. So I think we're both agree just go with the flow and see how things goes. And I think we're both really busy with stuff, so we're not really rushing into anything either.
Do you want something different? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I would prefer not to.
Maybe Vicky's hinting at marriage.
No.
Relax.
No, I like where I am right now. Okay, Vicky, you don't want to be in a different stage?
No.
Really?
I'm so happy right now. Or like I'm happy with the status I'm in right now, and I can't imagine anything different.
You think that's a temporary thing? Can you fathom the idea that someday down the line you'll be like, oh, I'm pretty willing to.
No.
Really?
Yeah. I can't imagine like being open.
But is that just because you have things that you want to work on / prioritize, or you actually like prefer being single?
I think I do prefer feeling single. That's why I was curious about your long distance, because like when I got into a relationship, it was, I think immediately we were like long distance, and I never had that insecurity, or like I've never felt like, oh my god, like he doesn't like me or things like that. I think I just like being single.
Like even in a relationship, you were okay with the long distance because you had your own time and
Yeah,
space.
like I wanted that, and I like yeah, it would be nice if I like had you around and we went to do errands and stuff, but at the same time I got to like do my own thing. Like I didn't sacrifice like my hobbies or like my time or things that I wanted to do to be with someone else.
But I feel like isn't in a relationship you don't need to sacrifice those things, right? Or is it just because you need so much personal space that you feel like the other person is just like, why aren't you including me in your life?
I don't know. from what I've heard, it's just like you get into a relationship and no matter what, you sacrifice something, but it's just you want to. Like, oh, I don't want to, like, I don't know, gym every day because some nights I want to spend it with you, you know, like that type of thing. And you like willingly want to. And one, I haven't met anyone that I like want to do that for, but also it's just like I spent the last month not seeing anybody and I'm like totally okay with that. And it was like really good time where I just like did whatever I wanted. And like if I wanted to like go to boxing on a random day at the last minute, like I got to do all of that. And so I can't imagine adding another equation into my life right now.
I have a couple questions slash comments.
Fuck.
Oh, no. Like, okay, in your life, have you ever craved companionship? For example, you and I are more similar in the sense of like we like our alone time. We didn't mind being single. We couldn't imagine like being with somebody. But at the same time, I also understand where Jam was coming from sometimes of like, oh, I like want to be with, like I want to like go on a date or like
Why did you use that voice for me?
I'm sorry. No, but like, you know, it would be nice to have somebody. Have you ever felt that way?
In a way that it's like how your friend wants like protection. As a girl, I can't go to the gym at 9 p.m. by myself. But if I had a boyfriend, then I'd feel so much safer to do it. But then I'm like, bruh, why do I need a guy to do that? Like, I will back myself up. I will take self-defense classes, or I will just avoid not going and go earlier in the day, like things like that. I don't need to add another person to my life just so I can have these opportunities.
So you've never really craved like, and not protection, but like companionship or like a partner.
Maybe physically, but I'd like that doesn't outweigh like the emotional part of it. Like having to be emotional.
Oh, okay. For example, let's say you're watching a lovey-dovey like TV show or something. Like when I see stuff like that, when I was single, I was like, oh my God, that's what I want. Like I don't want a date, but that I know ideally that's what I want. Are you ever like that?
I felt that, but I don't right now. Like when I see that, I'm like, ooh, I don't.
Oh, right now, but you have before.
Yeah.
Yeah, then my other comment was like, I actually think right now Vicky just wants to be single.
Yeah.
And it's gonna last for a bit for like whatever that requires. But at the same time, like that was me too, because I couldn't imagine possibly sharing a space or like time with somebody. I was like, are you kidding me? Like I want to be myself all the time, right?
Yeah.
But then I think it's just like it's what you said. You've never met somebody who has matched like what you want slash need, and I feel like because I don't feel like I don't have time or space. One time we were talking about someone's relationship where like the guy was like, oh, I'm gonna go on a walk by myself kind of thing, and the girl was like she took it like, oh, you need space from me, versus the guy was like, no, like sometimes like I just want, it's not anything about you, I just need my independence, right?
Yeah.
She supports it, but she doesn't fully understand it, versus like me and him, like we both need that. So then I think naturally, like once you find somebody like that, hopefully,
Yeah, same. But until then,
yeah, you won't do anything to put yourself out there and stuff.
Well, now we're going to answer questions that you guys gave us.
I like this one. Now that Sharon is dating, do Vicky and Jen feel left out or having any urge to find someone?
Jam, you sound like you got something to say.
Wait, now that Jam is dating, I think the answer would be different, but like altering the question a bit, when I first got into dating slash in a relationship, did either of you guys feel like that urge of like, oh fuck, like I didn't want to find someone or anything?
Absolutely not. I was very happy for you, but like I think I'm just like so like you used to being single that I was just like good for you, not for me.
I don't think it was you guys being together that gave me the urge to want to date. Like I just want to date. So I don't think seeing you guys together was like, oh my God, I have to find someone right now or something like that. But I don't know, when you got to the relationship, it just almost, I told you, when I told my mom about it, it just felt like I was telling them I had a boyfriend. So it just also like, just like happy. It feels like we're going through it together. I just didn't have a physical companion.
I kid you not, everyone in my life has something right now. I don't think there's one single person that I'm like close to that's not in anything, which is wild.
One of the questions was, how do you know when to keep going or when to stop going down a relationship road? That's a good question.
If you're early in the relationship and like early as in like talking and even the first couple like months of honeymoon stage, and you already feel like you're putting in way more effort and like you aren't sure if they like you back, that's a flag in itself, because that's your honeymoon phase. Like if you are supposed to be in a lovey-dovey phase and you already feel like they don't like you enough, imagine later down the road. So that's like the first initial, like you should stop it.
I feel like you have to, what did I say? Compartmentalize whether or your feelings versus being realistic, or like being able to see things logically. Because there was this guy that I was talking to, and for some reason I liked him a lot, but then that was my emotional side, right? But then realistically looking back at it, I had never felt secure in that situationship. So the only reason why I stayed in it as long as I did was because I liked him a lot. But then if you're not feeling secure, and you know, like your sixth sense kind of you're not getting that same or like it's not being reciprocated, that's when you kind of like pull the plug, or at least bring it up. Because I ended up getting cheated on.
Well, I think for that one guy, when I had a sixth sense for, it was just very, I think, easy. And then because it was only like 2 weeks, so it was very easy to just end things, be like, okay, we're not taking this anywhere. I feel like with the current guy, because like I have like more feelings for, but then maybe as like we start to talk more, there's like maybe certain aspects or more doubts comes up. And then I think it's just like really evaluating each of those doubts. And are you being reasonable about those doubts, or is it coming from a place of insecurity? And I think somewhere along the line of you guys talking, dating, getting to know each other, these doubts or these questions are bound to come up, and you have to see how it's being addressed. Whether he is completely just disregarding it, or he has a reason for it and wants to change things. I think it is really just like evaluating each of these doubts. If after talking about it, there's no change, or you think it's gonna affect you guys in the long run, then I think that's a sign in itself that, okay, you guys shouldn't continue the relationship.
I'm gonna just take a minute to shit on men for a quick second, but I feel like men can't distinguish physical touch and like liking somebody. Versus for us, if we want to have good physical like chemistry and stuff, you have to like them. It's like if we want to have a one night stand, it's kind of hard, even if you're like super attractive, because if the liking isn't there, then the emotional aspect is lacking, right? So it doesn't carry over to physical. Versus guys, I feel like they just are horny people. So sometimes like they give you the false sense that they like you based off like physical touch, or wanting to carry that over into like bed and stuff. But then if they can't actually say that they're invested in you emotionally, I think that's a red flag too.
The best TikTok advice that I heard was, imagine the same scenario going through, but for your best friend. So if you would think that your best friend should be going through exactly what you're going through and you're okay with that, then sure. If not, then get out of there. Also, decipher whether you are just lonely or you actually like this person. I feel like a lot of people get confused by that.
Next question is how to get over a guy. Have you ever had to get over a guy?
No, I just hate them.
Okay, yeah. Like I think it either was time or like me realizing why did I even like you in the first place. So I never had to get over a guy. But then Jamila, are you over Mr.
I think so. The thing is, when you say over a guy, like, what do you mean?
If he brought something to the table and he was like, let's get back together, or like, I want to try right now, would you give him the opportunity?
Like right now? No.
But like, when would it be okay?
Maybe a week ago.
Oh, so yeah, I feel like you're good.
But at the same time, I feel like that, because it's been 3 years. It's faded a lot, and he's done a lot of things that shows, okay, it's not worth it. And I think with time, obviously the feelings fade, and then the logical side comes out more. So honestly, maybe even like he brought up like a month ago, I still said no, because ultimately I'm like, why all of a sudden? It's not like we've talked. Like, where is this coming from?
I feel like a good first step is deleting them off everything. Like when there is no room for you to question their signals or motives after the breakup, then it makes getting over them a lot easier. Versus like if you're like, yeah, we can be friends, or like, oh, let me go like look at their story, and you're like, did they post that because they wanted to make me jealous to get back together? Or like, did they text me because they want to get back together and this is a signal? When you cut all of that off, you're just left with what happened in the past. And then after that, it's so much easier to get over them. Because I've definitely had exes block me on everything, and I feel like they got over me pretty quick. So,
and also not searching for updates about them. Like that comes from social media, but also from friends asking like, hey, how are they doing? Like, what have they been up to? Like, are they seeing anyone?
I have a question. Is your current man your type?
I would say so. If you ask me what the type is, like wholesome looking but wholesome personality. Yeah. Well, this was our episode / life update on our current relationship status, or our current status, whatever. Yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah. I think we're doing well in our own little,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's going to be more topics to come, just because as Sharon progresses in her relationship, as I progress in my dating career life. And as Vicky continues her single life, I think naturally we have more topics on conversations out of it. So yeah, like I think we're all happy and excited with where we are. And hope you guys enjoy this episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.